Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be combining like terms. So here I have four expressions and we're going to simplify them. So for example, if we had p plus p plus p, that would equal 3p. So in order to simplify these and combine like terms, the variables have to be the same. So you'll notice here that the variable is z and it's the same throughout my expression. So 1z plus 1z plus 1z, that's 3z, minus z, that's 2z, and then plus another z, that's 3z again. Okay? So y plus y is 2y, minus y is simply 1y, or just y. And here I have x minus x, which is just 0. And then I have r minus r, which is 0. Plus r is 1r, or simply r. Okay? So it's as simple as that. So here I added coefficients other than 1 or negative 1. So 4z plus 2z, these two together are 6z. And then we're subtracting 5z, so we end up with 1z, or simply z. Okay? So 3y minus 2y, that's 1y, or just y. Y plus y is 2y, and then plus another 6y, that's 2 plus 6, which is 8y. And then here I have 5x minus x, so 5, remember that this is 1, so 5 minus 1, that's 4x. And then here I have 6r plus 3r, these two together are 9r, and then minus 4r, so 9r minus 4r is 5r. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so here I have three equations, and I'm going to simplify and solve. So before we solve these equations, we have like terms here. So we're going to combine our like terms, and then we're going to solve for our variable. So starting with 1, I have 4 minus 2x plus 7 is equal to 5. So there's not much going on the right side of the equation, so I'm going to leave that alone. Here I have 4 minus 2x plus 7. So out of these three terms, our like terms are 4 and 7, positive 7, because they're both constants, okay? There's nothing that I could combine with the negative 2x. So 4 plus 7 is 11. So I have 11 minus 2x is equal to 5. Now that there are no more like terms, we're going to solve for x. And remember that when we're solving for x, our goal is to have our variable last. We want to isolate our variable so we could find its value. So here I have 11 minus 2x. Instead of doing anything with this negative 2x, I'm going to subtract both sides by 11. And by using its inverse operation, a positive 11 and a negative 11 cancel each other out. And so on the left side, I'm left with negative 2x is equal to 5 minus 11. Remember, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. And since this is a positive 5 and a negative 11, I'm going to subtract. So 11 minus 5 is 6. And remember that when you do subtract, you keep the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value, which in this case, between 5 and negative 11 has a greater absolute value, so this 6 is negative. So here I have negative 2x is equal to negative 6. So in order to get x by itself and isolate it, I have to divide both sides by negative 2, because this is negative 2 times x, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And so negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just 1. I don't have to write the 1. I could simply write the x. And negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3, so x equals 3. And remember that you could always go back and substitute to check your answer. Okay, so for number 2, I have a lot going on, especially on the left side of the equation. I have negative 9x minus 6 plus 6x minus 3 is equal to negative 12. And here what we should do is we should identify our like terms first. So I'm going to put a green rectangle around the negative 9x. And negative 6 is not a like term because it doesn't have a variable, but positive 6x is. So these two are like terms, and there's nothing else on the left side of the equation that is a like term, so I'm going to combine these two. And so negative 9 plus 6x, remember that if we have opposite signs, if we have different signs, so same signs where we add and keep, different signs we subtract. So 9 minus 6 is 3, x, and remember we keep the sign of the one with the greatest absolute value, and between negative 9 and positive 6, the one with the greatest absolute value is 9, so our answer here is negative 3x, so it simplifies to negative 3x. And so since we combine these two, we're done with these two, and we don't have to worry about those two terms. We combine them into one term. And now here, I have negative 6 and negative 3. And since both of these are constants, I can combine them. So negative 6 and negative 3, since the signs are the same, we add them. So because same signs we add and we keep, different signs we subtract. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So same signs add and keep, and we keep the sign. So we have negative 3x minus 9. And then here, the left side of the equation is the same. So don't forget that since we're done with these two terms, we could cancel them out. And now we simplified these 4 terms into 2 terms to make it easier to work with. And this is equal to negative 12. So here, I have negative 3x minus 9 is equal to negative 12. And all we have to do is we have to isolate our x to solve for x. So negative 3x, I'm not going to work with that yet because my goal is to get that alone. And so we have minus 9 here, so I'm going to add 9 on both sides because that's the inverse operation of subtraction. So these two cancel out. So now I'm left with negative 3x is equal to negative 12 plus 9. Remember that these two signs are not the same. If they were, we would add, but since they're different, we're going to subtract. And 12 minus 9 is 3. So remember, we keep the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value, which in this case is 12, so it's negative 3. So negative 3x is equal to negative 3. This is multiplication over here, so negative 3 times x is equal to negative 3. And in order to isolate our x, we have to do the inverse operation, which is division on both sides. So we divide both sides by negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 3, which is positive 1. And remember that you could always go back and substitute to check your answer. Okay? And lastly, we have 6x minus x plus 5 is equal to negative 25. And here, our like terms are pretty easy. They're right in the beginning. So 6x minus x. So 6x minus 1x is 5x plus 5 is equal to negative 25. So remember that our goal is to isolate our x. So we have 5x plus 5. We're going to subtract by 5 on both sides. And these two cancel out because they're inverse operations. So now I have 5x is equal to negative 25 minus 5. So same signs, add and keep. So we add and we keep the negative sign. And now we have 5x is equal to negative 30. In order to isolate our x, we have to divide both sides by 5. And so we're left with 1x, or just x, is equal to negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. And that's it. Remember that you could always go back to check your answer, but that's it. We're pretty much done with that.